Anne-Marie is going to take us through 3 stretches on the slant board. And the idea of this is we're in plantar flexion and we're in dorsiflexion. They're the basic angles for movement. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a hamstring stretch, and in a hamstring stretch we're going to not individualize stretching. We're going to stretch the whole kinetic chain through one movement. And what Anne-Marie is doing when she's in plantar flexion, she's in dorsiflexion. She's going to stretch the hamstring in dorsiflexion. We've got to aim that her hips are square. Now in that position, she's now recruiting her Achilles tendon, her calf muscles, her hamstrings, her glutes, her paraspinal muscles, the whole way to the neck. So she's taking the whole kinetic chain into one movement, and she's stretching. And also in that position, she's not compromising any vascular situations, and she's also stretching the nervous system, which is a functional movement and holding the stretch into a position. And ideally, if you hold a stretch between 15 to 45 seconds, it all depends on the level of fitness. It all depends on the boards that you want to use. The different sizes for each individual has different flexibility. And can Anne-Marie just step back up, and when she comes back up straight, she's just going to swap and she's going to do the opposite side. And she's doing the exact same thing on both sides. And you're not time wasting in stretching the calf muscle or the Achilles tendon. And usually when you're stretching on the slant board and you're stretching the proper angles, it will show up where there's any tight muscle or kinked fascia, which causes a lot of muscle restrictions, which a lot of sports people have. And we can stand up. Another test then, if someone's very, very supple, we can stand both legs on both the board, and you come up. And as you can see, ideally the slant should be all our angles. Your ear should be over your shoulder over your hip over your knee, and your knee over your ankle. Okay? And basically she's stretching now in triple extension, because as I said earlier today, triple extension is something that's very important, and it's lost and it's forgot about. And that's why when people are not functional in the ankle, we have a lot of poor stability. We also have muscle restrictions, joint dysfunction. That's what causes hamstrings, knee damage, lower back pain, and all sorts of injuries. Okay? Now Anne-Marie's going to do a piriformis stretch. Is that what you're going to do? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ideally, back on the slant again, she's bringing her knee into engagement here, and she's in that position here now, and she's stretching her piriformis or iliotibial band, which a lot of cyclists and runners get, runner's knee. People will say Anne-Marie looks very supple. She is, but she works hard to get this way. It's not that it comes easy. It comes with a lot of time and a lot of pain and practice. She's holding that position. The same thing again. She's stretching her piriformis, her iliotibial band, stretching her peroneals, taking her shoulders into it. And you always got to encourage to relax and breathe. And anywhere you feel tightness, if you breathe through that, you'll feel good. Okay? And we'll ask Anne-Marie to do the other leg as well, please. And as you can see, the dynamics is the same on both sides, because remember, when you're doing any sort of sport, people forget all sport is a single leg sport. It's one leg on the ground at a time. Unless there's a sport called knitting where you can sit on your backside, but everything is one leg. So you have to have both hips the same, both range of movements the same, otherwise you have some sort of restriction, and that leads to poor performance. And up, and we're going to go to Sauceman, which legs up in the back of the board. This is probably one of the most amazing functional stretches around for any sort of sports people. One, if you're using your legs in sport, you're now stretching your peroneals and your tibs, which nobody ever does. And as you can see, she's up on the board here, and she's plantar flexed her feet. Also, in doing that, she's now stretching her thighs. And the most important thing is when she engages her pelvis into the area, bring it forward please, she's now stretching her psoas muscle, because this area here controls the spine. And if she leans right back into it, she's now taking her upper thoracic spine into a stretch. So she's getting a lot of stretching the whole area through her body. Instead of just doing individual stretching, she's now recruiting the whole kinetic chain on the anterior aspect. And always encourage breathing, hold a stretch for 45 seconds. And in that position there now, we're just going to put Mark English on the other board doing the exact same movement, please, Mark. And we can just hold it. And if you can just watch Mark doing the board, put your hands back in the board, yeah? And you're holding. And you can see the dynamics. As I said, Mark has been working very, very hard, but when you can see there's a little bit of restriction, Mark is slightly tilting to one side, so he's more dominant in this area. And if we just kind of got to re-elongate that, because he has what we call kinked fascia, and it's caused a lot of muscle restriction, which we're going to try to re-elongate. Hence the RIP tools, hence the word RIP tool, recovery, injury, prevention. And breathe, Mark, please. And if Anne-Marie can just bring her pelvis back in, and Mark bring her pelvis back in, and do the same thing again. Very good. That's excellent. And we're holding, you see Mark is elongating, he's kinked fascia there now, and he's recruiting, he's lubricating. Okay, thank you very much.